Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how you can use Ubo app to control and use your Raspberry Pi headlessly with no additional hardware. This would be very handy if you ever find yourself in a situation that you have a Raspberry Pi that you want to use, but you don't have an Ethernet cable, mouse, keyboard, or monitor, or other accessories. Another scenario where this can be very helpful is that you have a preset pre-flashed MicroSD card with your own applications pre-installed on it, and you want to ship this to an end user, and you cannot expect the end user to go through a complicated setup process or have access to specific hardware accessories. To follow along the steps in this video, all you need is a Raspberry Pi and a MicroSD card, 8 GB or larger in size. You can use a Raspberry Pi 3, 4, or 5. I'm using a Raspberry Pi 4 in this video. You can technically use this on a Pi Zero, but the app currently is not memory optimized for Pi Zero. We may have to build a custom version for Pi Zero that does not include some of the more memory intensive services. To start, you need to download the image that I have included in the link in the video description and use Raspberry Pi Imager to write that image onto the SD card. The image uses the latest version of Raspberry Pi OS with Ubo App pre-installed on it. I've gone through these initial setup steps to prepare the MicroSD card already, so I'm not including those steps in the video because they're kind of boring. And I'm going to insert the MicroSD card and power up the Raspberry Pi. While this powers up, we can talk about a few things. So as the Pi boots up, it's gonna check for available networks that it can connect to. So it can be an Ethernet connection, or it can be a Wi-Fi network that it already has connected to before, and it knows the credentials. If it cannot connect to any network, it will bring up the Wi-Fi hotspot, and that's what we're gonna use right now to connect to the Raspberry Pi. And we're gonna use the Wi-Fi hotspot to pass the Wi-Fi credentials for Pi to connect to. So that this would be your house Wi-Fi, your office Wi-Fi, and whatnot. So when the Pi boots up, the hotspot is going to have a unique name. The SSID is going to start with letters UBO dash and some random numbers. And you have to actually remember this because this is going to be the host name of your Raspberry Pi, which in the subsequent steps we're gonna use that name to connect to the web UI and control your Pi with it. So I'm gonna take my phone and let's begin scanning for the Wi-Fi's for Wi-Fi networks around us, and see if it has already is being advertised. Okay, now I'm going through the list of Wi-Fi networks around me, and I can see Ubo-20 as being advertised. So I'm going to connect to this one. So the first time you connect, you have to enter the hotspot password, which is ubopod, UBOPOD dash setup, SETUP. This is the password that you have to enter, and then you press connect. And as soon as you connect, you're going to see a pop-up. This is a captive portal, and in the pop-up, you need to enter your main Wi-Fi credentials. So here I'm going to enter that information. Circuit launch is the SSID, and then enter the password. And then after you enter the password, you have to press provide. So this is gonna close the window, and now Raspberry Pi is gonna switch the network, and it's gonna try to connect to the main network. So what we're gonna do is that now we're gonna go in the browser, and then in the browser enter Ubo-20, which is the host name, .local, and semicolon 4321, which is the port number where the web UI is being hosted on. Now you can connect to the web UI. So this is actually being served on Raspberry Pi. The first time you do this, you have to download Envoy, which is basically, I don't want to get into the technical sides too much here, but it basically allows us to serve gRPC API on the web. So it's like a proxy service. This will take a couple of minutes, so it needs to download the image, Envoy image, and then after it downloads the image, we need to run it on the inside the browser. For this tutorial, I'm using my phone, but you can do all these steps with a laptop or any other device that has a Wi-Fi network or Wi-Fi connectivity. Okay, now Envoy is downloaded and we need to run it. And as soon as it runs, you can see the graphical user interface showing up on your device. There's a small bug here that you need to kind of interact with the buttons first for the pages to refresh. I'm going to, yeah, I had to, like, you have to press some buttons first, but we're gonna fix this issue. And now you have access to Ubo App on your phone, and you can actually get audio streamed through the browser. So the goal is to emulate all hardware peripherals. For example, you can send video feed from your phone or laptop camera to your Raspberry Pi, or you can send audio through your browser to Raspberry Pi. And for example, if I go to settings, network, Wi-Fi, you go here. So you can hear actually the text to speech running on Pi, and the audio is getting streamed through the application in the browser. You're gonna hear
Please make sure you are on the same network as this Ubo pod and open http ubo20.local:4321 in your browser.
Yeah, anyways, here you can use all capabilities of Ubo App. You can install third-party applications. You can set up remote. For example, if I go to remote, you can set up Raspberry Pi Connect and connect to your Pi remotely to have access to desktop or command line and all that stuff. So I'm not going to go through presentation of Ubo App itself. That's another video. But this is basically the process that I wanted to show you end to end. You can, of course, run the software on the actual Ubo pod. And as you can see, this is, the graphical user interface on the physical hardware, but you're emulating it and putting it on the phone. If I switch to the, let me just go here. Yeah, so here, these two are actually, kind of, this is connected to this Ubo pod. This is a different name, Ubo-9R. And as you can see, like, these two are kind of in sync. So whatever you do here happens at the same time on your actual hardware. Yeah, so with the hardware, you get access to all the hardware peripherals. There's like built-in camera, there are speakers, light sensor, temperature sensor. We're trying to emulate as much as we can in the browser, but we cannot, of course, emulate the sensors, the light sensor, or other capabilities that are unique to this hardware. But the goal is to make the software more accessible to people. And if you guys like the project, we would really appreciate if you can support us by buying one of the hardware itself. It can be a Ubo Pro, which has all the hardware accessories, or just Ubo Base, which is basically a Raspberry Pi case with which is customizable and upgradable. It has like a simple top cover. But as a starting point, if you want to just give it a try, you can just start with a bare Raspberry Pi and try the software. I would love to get your feedback on the software side. If there's any specific feature that you would like to be added, please follow our GitHub repository that I have in the link, and feel free to open an issue there, and we will put that on our roadmap. Thanks for watching this video.